Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Carry the blog post we want to share with you, of course, review the latest in social media and technology. What we're showing you here today is we're doing a phone versus comparison between two different phones. We, of course, do these so that you can see what phones you might want to shop for, or what you might want to upgrade to, or how your phone might compare to another phone. So be sure to check in and tune into the ChrisVossShow.com email list so you can get an email update of all the newest phones we get, and also on our YouTube channel, subscribe at the Chris Voss on YouTube. The most important thing there is we have all the major phone companies sending us phones, so you definitely want to get the very latest and greatest stuff that we're reviewing here. Now, the HTC Droid Incredible 4G LTE is here on your left. It's Verizon Mobile. That's Verizon Mobile. You can find it at verizonwireless.com. That's verizonwireless.com. And it's a very fast 4G LTE phone with the Virgin Mobile. It's from it's an LG Optimus Elite you can take and find, and it's a great little device. And it's you can find it at virginmobileusa.com. That's virginmobileusa.com. Let's get into both devices here. We'll first break down the specs, and then we'll get into camera work and benchmarks and everything else that you can possibly do. With the Verizon Droid Incredible, you're looking at a height of 4.82 times 2.4 times 0.46 with a weight of 4.66 ounces. Talk time is 9.6 hours max, 440 hours max of standby, and 1700 milliamp battery. The display is an LCD color TFT resolution, 540 by 960 pixels, 4-inch diagonal resolution, display, and Super LCD. The OS platform is Android version 4.03 plus HTC Sense, and it has a memory of 8 gigabytes internal memory, raw hardware, 4.8 megabytes of internal storage available to the user, and 1 gigabyte of RAM. It does have NFC chip in it, so it does have capability there. On it, it also has expandable memory on the back. You can pull the back off and expand the memory up to 32 gigabytes with a micro SD card. It has a 8 megapixel resolution back camera, 1080p of course, and a front-facing, just resolution VGA-based front-facing camera. You can also do HDMI output with the proper adapter and plug into the micro USB. So let's take a look at the LG Optimus Elite. What we have here with the Optimus Elite is this is 4.58 in height, 2.47 in width, 0.39 in thickness. It has weight of 4.25 ounces. It has talk time of 7.3 hours max. Standby, we don't have the details on that, sorry. 1520 milliamp battery, LCD color TFT resolution, 320 by 480 pixels, 3.5-inch diagonal screen, 16.7 million colors, and 24-bit. The OS platform is Android version 2.3 Gingerbread. That's a processor of 800 megahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon. It's got a memory of 4 gigabytes internal storage, raw hardware. It's 1 gigabyte internal storage available to the user, 512 megabytes of RAM. On the expandable memory, it has expandable memory where you can use a micro SD card to go up to 32 gigabytes. It has a 5 megapixel back camera with WVGA resolution, 480p, and no front-facing camera. Some devices also come, I believe these come with NFC in them. There's a few different versions depending upon the carrier, so check with your carrier. It would appear that it does come with that on this device. So you can see both devices here before you. They're very cool devices. Both got great software on them. It would be nice to have the Android 4.04 system on the Virgin Mobile, but it works off of Gingerbread, and it's pretty speedy for its size and build and what you accomplish. Now, the main thing you're looking at here is the difference between the two companies. The Virgin Mobile, usually you buy the phones up front, you pay pretty much full price for the phones, and then you get a discounted monthly service with unlimited availability, and it's month to month without getting locked into a 2-year contract. With Verizon Wireless, you're looking at a situation where you do get a discounted phone, you don't pay full price, but you end up paying a 2-year contract. Both, have different advantages and disadvantages to each service. It's up to you to decide which one might work best for you. Of course, we're not benchmarking services here. Let's take a look at both devices. We've got a speaker on the top, front-facing camera for the calling and all that good stuff. You got a back menu, you've got a home and recent apps. On the Virgin Mobile, we're looking at LG on the speaker that's here, no front-facing camera. We've got a home button, a menu button, a back button, and a search button. So several different things you can do there. Both devices have a swipe system. Of course, both have finite swipe systems to get you around the menus. They, of course, have the classic things that you have with the Android devices, where you have the ability to add widgets to it and customize your menu, much like you would not be able to do with other OS systems. Let's take a look at the notification menus. You can see the drop downs for the notifications here, fairly similar in their build and look and all that good stuff. Let's take a look at the back of each device. On the back of each device, you can see here that we have a camera, a lamp flash. We also have the camera eye here. We have a small speaker here. Not really excited about that small speaker, but it seems to hold up okay. It has HTC Beats audio on it. Now HTC Beats audio activates once you plug in an earphone, and it sounds pretty good as far as I'm concerned. It equalizes the sound, makes it sound much better. It looks like we have a little smudge there, but it sounds really good and enhances the sound quite a bit. If you have a Beats audio product such as earphones or headphones, evidently it does even better in your experience, and I tend to like it. You can turn off if you like. With the LG, you have a small mirror to do self shots if you want. You have a camera eye. You have your lamp flash here. Both backs do come off, as you can see here. Pop both of them off at the same time, so you can see what they both look like. On the HTC, you can pull the battery out as well as the Virgin. You can see here there's a place on the side for your SIM card right here and your micro SD card. On the LG, there's a place right here where you can plug in your expandable memory micro SD card and be able to do that. So pretty simple, cool with the pop-off backs and how they operate, and they go back right on, pretty easy. Okay, so here you can see how both devices look. On the bottom, you've got a small microphone hole, the pull-off area. You've got a micro USB charging port, a sync port, and then a small microphone hole to be able to pick up your voice when calling and doing stuff. Also on the tops of the HTC, you've got the power button here. You've got a small microphone hole, a earphone jack, a power button here, and a small earphone jack there. Down the devices, on the right-hand side, you have a small rocker bar for the volume up and down. Nothing really here on the LG side, just a nice sleek kind of, I like the aerodynamic look of that steel panel. Let's see, down here we have a micro USB charger sync port. We have a very small, cool-looking rocker for volume up and volume down. Okay, so here you can see each of the Geekbench scores. This is Geekbench 2 app you can see here. And with the Geekbench, we got a score of 1246 for the Verizon Droid and 504 for the Virgin Mobile LG. And you can see here how each performed just by taking a look at some of the benchmarks that we have here. Let's go ahead and page down with both devices so that you can see that. You can see here with the system information. You can, of course, pause this video at any time that you want. We'll just kind of page through it here so you can see it. You can also see some screen lag issues that are on the LG and how they roll. And string performance. There you go. Okay, so here you can see the AnTuTu benchmarking test we did. The scores came in at 6,019. You can see some of the details of RAM, CPU, integer. It was 3138 for the Virgin Mobile, and you can see how those scores broke down. All right, so here you can see how each of these devices took and played out with the GL Benchmark 2.5.1 we're using here. It came in with the Egypt Classic 6,582 frames at 58 frames per second. The GL Benchmark at 2.51 came in at 5864 frames at 52 frames per second. So you can see the difference there in their speeds of processing. Okay, so on both devices, on the Passmark performance test, we had a system marking of 1870 on the Droid and 1098 on the Virgin Mobile. For the CPU test, we had 1297 against a 4592 on the Droid, 2802 on the Droid against an LG 1572, 2181 on the memory tests on the Droid, and 1429 on the Virgin Mobile. 2D graphics test on the Virgin Mobile, 2034 against 1898 on the Droid, and lastly 609 against 454 on the LG. Okay, so here we can see the benchmarks we've done with Quadrant Standard here, and you can see here that the device on the Droid scored 4382 against a score on the LG of 1918, I believe that is. And you can see here how they kind of benchmark graphically with a lot of other devices that are out there. Okay, so here you can see the Velimo app, different benchmark results we got. The Verizon Droid scored 1480, the Virgin Mobile LG scored 712, and 524 for the Droid, and 252 for the Virgin Mobile. Okay, so here you can see on both devices we've run the Kfs Benchmark. What this does is this runs a series of different graphical programs that come up with frames per second. You can see here the frames per second overall, and the Kfs was, on the LG, was overall 27.7 frames per second, and the Verizon Droid came in at Kfs Benchmark 40.79 frames per second. Okay, so this is going to be a GPS test, and what this is going to do is show how fast and how many GPS satellites each device picks up on, and how well it knows its place on the planet, if you will. There's up to 20 in view on the Verizon Droid, 8 in use, and we're coming within 10 to 13 feet, sometimes 16 looks like. Getting 19 in view on the Virgin Mobile LG. Looks like bouncing around just a little bit. 8 or 9 in use with an accuracy of 10 feet, which is the main thing you want. You just want to get close, but it does show how powerful each device might be at picking up more satellites than one another. Okay, so here we can see the two devices. We've ran the AND-E benchmarking system here. This will take and benchmark the native threads and Java threads. You see here the Verizon performed at 4792 against 1338 on the Virgin Mobile, 153 against 57 on the LG. Okay, now, so this has your pretty much your standard Android operating system, especially the 4.03 or HTC software. If you've taken and seen it, you have the ability to control, of course, up here your flash and all that good stuff. The indicator light's not coming on because they have the battery low. You have your settings button that you can take and hit. You have access to your camera, front, back, self-timer, image resolution changes you want to make, video quality, of course, you can adjust up and down, the review duration of image adjustments that you want to take and make to the quality of the image. You can adjust exposure and all that good stuff. Let's take a look at a few others. Let's see, ISO, white balance. The real nice thing about the Android line, of course, you have a whole lot more customization of the camera than you do with other OSs. Camera options here, you can see autofocus, face detection, smile, capture camera, all that sort of good stuff. Let's take a look at, you've got auto upload if you want to take and do this, camera interface where you've got grid, shutter, different video options you may have for video stabilization, different camera options. I think we covered that. So you have all that available to you there. There's different basically camera scenes that you can take and pre-program into the phone so that you can get different lighting scenarios and stuff like that. You can choose HDR, panorama, portrait, group portrait, whiteboard, low light, close-up, etc., etc. And the camera will adjust itself to what it needs to do. You've got a zoom here, in and out, and then you also have the feature of where you have the ability to add different effects. Now, the great thing about these effects is they'll show up real time in the camera so that you can get an idea as to how the effects will look when you do your shot. So, and of course, you can change these to however you want to take and do that. You can, of course, focus by touching anywhere on the screen so that you can get the subject you want into focus. You also have a shutter button for your camera and then a video button which activates your video. Let's take a look at some of the camera shots that we did. Okay, so now let's take a look at the camera shots that we got out of the HTC camera. It seems to be compliant with a lot of the different rear cameras that we see in the HTC product line, especially the HTC One product line. You can see here it takes great sharp photos, great detail, all that good stuff. One thing we have noticed, like I mentioned with the HTC cameras, is the ones of late have kind of jacked up the yellow, blues, and greens in the photos. You can see a picture here, and we use this as a way to show you what happens in certain environments. You can see here, and this is much more defined on the actual camera itself. It's coming through very differently, but the greens come through very thick on here, and of course the floor looks very yellow when this is actually more of a brown color. Now we find that with most of the HTC One phones, they do that, and the reason that we presume that they do that is because it makes your photos you take in other environments much more brighter. The images pop with yellow, blues, greens popping out. The challenge is when you get into an environment like this, where it's dominated by yellows, blues, and greens, it tends to overrun the camera. So this is one of the reasons that we use this as a test. You can see it's got great detail on the floor. It takes great pictures. You can adjust some of these settings out by going into the customization and everything else. Is it bad? We don't think so. But definitely you want to be aware of it when you go into a yellow, blue, and green environment. Here once again the video, and this is another thing that kind of surprised me on the video. The aperture area that it takes video, it wasn't as wide as some of the other areas that we've seen with other cameras. But it still takes great video, and there's no problem there. You can still see great detail in the shot. Here's a low light shot. It performed really well with the low light shot and flash shots. Very impressive. This will take a second to kick into gear with the lamp. But you can see here it does a great darken low light shot. You can see the image very well. It doesn't have any problem getting it light up and being able to see detail. Same thing with the flash. It takes a great flash photo. You can see here very well in detail. Now this is a flash in low light, I should say, where we're taking it, and this is almost a darkened image here. You can see great detail on the bike, everything else. This is a great shot for a low light shot. Colors come in really rich, so it performs really well in low light, which was very impressive, and it performs in normal light just as well. So we really like the camera, very impressive. HTC is building a good one. Okay, so let's take a look at the camera that's found on the HTC One V. Now, it has a camera that's similar to many Android phones. A lot of people like these phones because they're very customizable in the camera, where you have a lot more limits with the iPhone products or the iOS products. You have your flash ability to adjust flash up here. You also have, of course, you can see there you have the ability to control your zoom in and out. You have settings where you can go into this, and you can, of course, create different settings: self-timer, image resolution, video quality, review duration, image adjustments, white balance, ISO. Continuous shooting is very nice. You can shoot very quickly and then choose photographs you want to take and keep. Image interface, reset to default video options, all this sort of good stuff you have the ability to customize. It also has different scene views that you can take and do. Camera scenes, HDR, panorama, portrait. These tend to change from Android device to Android device, but you can see the ones that are on this particular one. One thing that's really cool is they have, if you hit this opaque button up here, you can have different editors that will edit your photos and create their values through the screen as you shoot them. So some people like that. It's kind of a pre-edit or pre-production edit, if you will, to give you an idea of some different things you can do. You have a shutter speed button here. You have your video button here. It takes really good pictures, given the size and quality of the phone. Not really given the quality, but it takes really good pictures. Let's put it that way. You can see here a funny picture of my dog. Here you can see a picture of the floor, and this is a picture of our kitchen floor. It takes very accurate photos when it comes to the color. Usually we're looking for high yellows out of this, or high greens. We get good colors with the photo ability on the camera. It takes really clear photos. Here's a low light photo where we're taking this with a flash, and so on this flash photo you can see here that we've got really good pictures, colors that we've come up with. Good pictures within the screen, so that you can take and do that. Now, on video-wise, it takes good video, and you can see that here as it plays. The yellow's a little high, and so are the greens and blues, which is pretty much what HTC has done to kind of bounce the pictures up a little bit more. That's why we use this to do that. But you can fix some of that in the settings on the You can fix that in the settings on the device. Let's take a look here at this is a low light situation, of course, that we're taking in using the lamp on the back, and it comes in pretty good. It's not the greatest lamp in the back, but it's just a very small phone that's economical and it achieves what it can. Okay, so let's talk about the camera on the Elite. On the Elite, it has much of the same customization features that you would have on most Androids. You've got a zoom in and out here. You've got a ability to change your ISO formats, your exposure, frame rates, +1, +2, f1 stop, if you will, all that good stuff. You have auto settings you can take and do for different scenes, and you have your ability to change your lamp on and off or your flash on and off, either way. You can adjust image size, ISO, white balance, color effect, shutter sound, auto review, tag location, all these different things that you can do on your device, and do that there. You've got up here your tags, which will show you where you can switch between video. You can choose long video or MMS video if you want to just send short text messages. And you have your shutter button here. In the area of photos of what we've taken so far in photos, it's a good camera for a 5 megapixel. Let's take a look at what we have here. What we have here is a well lit situation. Takes an accurate photo, great photo color, and you can still see the lines very good. And it's accurate to the color of the floor. We use these to test how well the browns come out in yellow, blues, and greens. So it comes out very well. Here's a situation where we're taking a low light photograph, and you can see here it illuminates the product fairly well. You can see that we've got pretty good definition as to what's on the image, if you will, and it lights it up fairly well. We kind of have like a core circle that it's picking up. Let's take a look at how well this looks like. We're getting some. I have so many phones, I don't know which way we're going half the time with these phones. Here you can see a video of the phone, and you can see it's much darker, of course, in the video than in the pictures it's taking. This is here the most accurate color of our floor. But you can see it takes good videos. There's nothing wrong with them. Here's a low light situation where it takes video. This is the one place where it really struggled with the lamp in taking a low light video situation. So one place where it pretty much failed to take a good low light situation. The back lamp on here just wasn't that great when it came down to video, but it took good photographs, so you do have that as a measurement you can take and use. It's a good camera, let's put it that way. Okay, so all in all, I like both devices. Both devices are really great devices when it comes down to it, and they have strengths in their own areas. The Droid, as you can get at VerizonWireless.com. That's VerizonWireless.com. Tell them they sent you. HTC Droid, incredible 4G LTE, and then the Virgin Mobile LG Elite. I forget what we're calling it. The Optimus Elite. There we go. I want to call it Optimus Prime. You can get it at VirginMobileUSA.com. That's VirginMobileUSA.com. Chris Voss tested, Chris Voss approved. Be sure to tell them Chris Voss sent you. Thanks for coming by the ChrisVossShow.com. Be sure to check back often.